Chris Baird has built a following by camping overnight in haunted locations and conducting ghost hunts in spots most people wouldn't dare set foot in. Tonight, Chris and his friend Jazz drive their camper van deep into a New York State woodland the locals call the Demon Forest, a place with a long, dark history of occult rituals, unexplained vanishings, and killings stretching back more than 100 years. They came prepared. It didn't matter.
Area of a forest called the Demon Forest. Now, the reason they call it that is exactly what you would think. Demonic, satanic rituals, people going missing, serial killers. There's a lot of crazy stories. There are many, many deaths reported in this forest. One of the craziest places we've ever been. We've been here for about 6 hours now. We're actually getting ready to go to bed. We had to pick a new campsite because of what we just experienced in this forest. This is terrifying. The footage you guys are about to watch is going to be scary. Please, if you guys can't handle it, watch with a friend, leave the lights on.
They had only just stepped out of the van. Nothing unusual had occurred yet. The spirit box had been ticking along in the background when it suddenly threw out a name, not some vague, meaningless word.
It's been a hot minute. We were gone for so long on the trip in Indiana and Ohio. What?
Deception.
Deception.
Okay.
Okay.
What was that, though? Hello?
No.
A very specific name connected to an actual disappearance from this very stretch of woods back in the 1980s. A man who walked in and was never seen again. Before Chris even has a moment to take that in, there are footsteps right next to them in the darkness, close enough that Jazz whips around on the spot.
Good stuff.
Brian.
What the f? That was like a footstep, like...
Bro.
I just told you too, I was like, I love filming when it's fall time because you can hear, like if something approached us, and that literally sounded like...
Right there. The name Brian is the name from a story I found. I swear to God. I swear to God.
Okay, so just give me a rundown. What happened to Brian?
So Brian was essentially, the person who told the story was a viewer of ours, a fan. Their uncle Brian went missing in the 1980s.
Oh, fuck.
One missing was never found. I believe they were involved in some like gang type
Is it okay
motorcycle
if we
activities.
film this then? I don't want to like, if it's a
But
touchy subject.
where we are, it's a big area.
Right.
We're probably not even near where this all happened.
It's a common name.
No, it's a common name,
Okay.
but it's just very weird that the timing of that. What?
I swear to God, I thought I just saw something over here.
What?
I didn't want to die here.
Shut the f up. Shut the f up.
Okay,
this
that-
is
They're making their way back to the van when something stops them dead. A sharp, heavy bang coming from right where the van is parked. Both of them go still. There's nobody visible out there.
All right, we're gonna...
Hello? Bro, did you hear that?
Yes, I heard that. You see me, you hear me. This is crazy.
Find my grave.
Find my grave.
Brian.
Where is your grave?
Oh, I'm so uncomfortable right now, dude.
Oh! Chris! What was that?
The van! The van!
No way, there's no way.
But the door was wide open. They climb in and lock up immediately. Then the spirit box spits out 3 words that cut straight through them both. You will hear children. Then Chris notices his bag. It was fully zipped when they headed out. Now it's hanging open. And the flashlight that had been packed inside it is sitting right there at the top. The van had been locked while they were out in the woods. No one else was meant to be anywhere near this place.
Was the wind?
Yeah, okay.
It's not even closed all the way.
You will hear children.
You will hear children? Bro, look at my bag. Look at my bag.
What's wrong with it?
It was zipped up and closed when we left. You can check the footage. There's no f***ing shot, dude.
You told me to grab your flashlight from here.
Was it like that?
No, your
Did you
flashlight
like
was in
that?
the front. I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, you can check the footage back. I don't... Well, at least it didn't take your muffin.
Oh, dude. I need that.
No, but seriously, what the fuck is going on?
I don't know. Are your stuff still here? Like, actually.
Get in here because I really don't want to be here right now.
I don't either.
Several hours go by. The two of them are finally starting to drift off. The woods around the van have fallen completely silent. Then, with zero warning, the whole van lurches violently, like something outside just threw its full weight against it. Both of them bolt upright before they're even fully conscious.
Chris. What the fuck is that? The whole van's shaking.
Hello?
What the fuck? Literally, the whole van was shaking.
felt it a little bit. Sorry, it was so fucking tired. Somebody outside. I don't see anything out there. Oh. What the fuck was that? Oh, the window. In the front, there's her whistle. Hello?
Then the flashlight switches itself off with no one anywhere close to it. Everything happening within a matter of seconds, deep in a forest where no other soul should be.
Wait, what the fuck?
What happened?
My light just died.
Wait, what?
My light just shut off.
Hold on.
Bro, no one touched it. I can't. My light just
There's gotta be a flashlight here somewhere.
Yeah.
It did. It died. Holy shit.
Is anything out there?
I don't. Is there anything?
The Romany Pirates channel follows a couple living the van life, documenting their travels with refreshing honesty and an unfiltered look at life on the road. In this particular episode, though, things spiraled into something deeply emotional, and it all started with a chaotic drive through the streets of Seville, weaving past erratic motorbikes, blaring horns, and an ambulance barreling toward them in the wrong lane. By the time they finally pulled over, they were just hoping to decompress, track down a local market, and take in some of the city's atmosphere. And at first, the surroundings genuinely delivered. The architecture alone was enough to stop them in their tracks.
After a really awful, stressful journey through the city, absolute chaos. Bikes pulling in front of you, cars beeping everywhere, then an ambulance came down wrong side of the road towards me, so I was swerving out of where that. I just had a coffee to calm down a little bit, and now we're in Sevilla looking for this market again. First impressions of Sevilla, obviously we don't like cities, but coming through, glancing at some of the buildings were gorgeous.
Absolutely beautiful, but it's like with all cities, it's really spread out. Like, it looks like gorgeous, but you'd have to walk miles. It's really, really spread out, really busy. So you're probably just we'll give you a flash of all the buildings that we saw driving through, and that's about as much as you're gonna see.
Oh, just don't like cities. It's just far, far too busy as this. We're literally going to find this market and then get out of here. Sorry, Sevilla, or whatever you call it.
The market they'd been looking forward to, though, was a letdown from the moment they arrived. Just a handful of stalls stocked mostly with mass-produced leather items, nothing close to the authentic artisan experience they'd been anticipating. But that disappointment was about to look minor by comparison, because when they made their way back to the van, what they found was nothing short of devastating. Parked on what looked like a respectable, well-kept street, they were confronted with a smashed side window and glass scattered everywhere.
And windows being smashed, and I don't even know what to say, Reese. I just really don't know what to say.
It's okay. We'll sort it.
I just don't know why people do stuff like this. I absolutely hate cities and busy. You don't get this when you go to a small place, and I hate this. It's meant to be a posh place, and it's Seville. Oh, go there, don't miss it. And look, it's not a nice place, is it? Clearly, we're parked on a really posh street. We paid for parking. We haven't even parked on any back streets. I don't even know if they're taking anything. We're gonna have to call police.
I don't believe it. I don't want to touch anything, obviously, because look, it's all sharp here and everything. But I don't know why they've broken in.
Let me have a look. Let me use my cardigan. Not the little fingerprint. Oh, will they?
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We're literally just saying now what a day, what a couple of days this has been. First with the fruit and then, you know, everything, and literally just saying that, turned corner and I said, oh my God, it's been smashed. Can't believe it.
Rifled through you. It was all glass.
The gut punch was immediate. Shock, fury, and a kind of speechless disbelief all hitting at once. Strangely, nothing seemed to have been stolen, but every single thing inside had been rummaged through. With the window gone, the van was wide open and completely vulnerable. and they were stranded in a city that had already been making them uneasy. They'd done everything right, paid for parking, chosen a decent location, and it hadn't mattered one bit. When they reached out to emergency services, the response was blunt and unhelpful. Hang up and go file a report at a police station in person. No advice on whether the van was even road legal in its current state. The anxiety just kept building.
Thank you. I've just got back to my van parked. We're in Sevilla. We've just got back to the van and somebody smashed all the side window of the van. We've just come back and it's just the whole window's smashed through. Somebody smashed it. There's glass everywhere. We don't know where to go to get it fixed. We've got no idea if we're probably going to need a crime number for the insurance. We are next to a park. I'll just get the name of the park up for you.
Alameda. There is a police station there in Sevilla Capital.
Casa Ella Adam, the police station near you.
Plaza, P-L-A-Z-A.
Plaza, right.
There is a police station there, you can report it there.
Right, okay. I'm not sure how to secure my van.
Thank you very much for your call, madam. I'm afraid we need to hang up because this is the emergency line.
All right, thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Buenas tardes. You're welcome, madam. Goodbye. Buenas tardes.
What did they say?
Report it online or walk to a police station. They don't know if we're allowed to drive it with the window smashed.
And then, as if the day needed one more blow, the nearest glass repair shop had already shut up for the afternoon. Their insurance policy, which included European coverage and breakdown protection, turned out to cover neither theft nor window damage. Every worry they'd ever had about navigating cities in a van seemed to be playing out in real time. Still, they pushed through it, cleaning up the broken glass as best they could, trying to steady themselves, and working out what the next move even looked like. Stay put, press on, or drive damage through an unfamiliar city. None of the options felt good. The one thing they were certain of was that they no longer felt safe. What do you think about what they went through? Drop your thoughts below. A man was out searching for treasure in North Dakota when something deeply disturbing unfolded around him.
Strange shit coming from it. And so I don't know what the hell is going on. I've seen it. Oh, holy shit.
While he was inspecting the interior of an abandoned vehicle, his camera picked up something he completely failed to notice in the moment. Just on the opposite side of the car, a shadowy figure appeared to be standing completely still. This person had apparently been observing him the whole time. Going by the silhouette and the way it was standing, some people in the comments speculated it could have been an elderly individual, though the footage is far too grainy to say anything with confidence. To make matters worse, the clip cuts off before anything is resolved. So what exactly was lurking out there alongside him in the dark? Then during a road trip, someone spotted another van carrying a deeply unsettling message on a sticker. It read, "Don't make this weird, get in the van." Safe to say, that's not something you'd ever hope to come across. Once the photo made its way online, it quickly divided people. Plenty of commenters felt the wording was creepy and completely out of line. Others pointed out that the van looked perfectly normal and insisted the whole thing was probably just a bad joke. Even so, it raises the question, what kind of person actually decides to slap something like that on their vehicle? The following unsettling clip comes from Romani Pirates, a UK-based channel following a couple through van life adventures, boat projects, and nature getaways across Britain. It's August 1st, 2023, and our duo is out in the Peak District National Park. After a long day on the road, they find a quiet spot to pull over and rest for the night. The surrounding countryside is calm and open, exactly the kind of peaceful setting the Peak District is known for. They start winding down for the evening, getting some food on the go, and brewing up hot drinks. Their dog Daisy is settled inside the van, but keeps a watchful eye on whatever's going on beyond the windows.
I don't want to get outside because I don't know what I'm walking into.
Had to like feed Daisy like 5 sausages already because the sun's shade guys is just out packing. So I'm just trying to keep her as quiet as I possibly can do. I feel like something feels really, I don't like the feeling of it.
It'll be alright, it'll dry off.
I can hear people coming round. Right, so we've driven about, 30 minutes?
Yeah, about 30 minutes down the road.
We've found another park.
It's shaking.
poor Daisy, she's literally shaking.
So they basically, a load of people ran off laughing.
Then, out of nowhere, a heavy thud slams against the side of the van. Both of them flinch immediately, and Daisy's ears prick right up. Whatever made the sound, it was close. Close enough to feel like it came from just outside the vehicle. With no way of knowing if someone was lurking nearby, or if something had simply collided with the van, they go completely still and listen, trying to piece together an explanation.
It was just like a loud bang, so basically like a real loud bang. It was right next to my head, so I didn't know what it was, so I apologise for my language. A lot of laughing. It seems like it were probably like, you know, young lads or something like that, I don't know, but they're obviously old enough to drive because they were in cars. As soon as we knew it had sort of gone quiet, we've just obviously got straight in van, we've driven off, we've made sure nobody's following us. We've come to a place that's on Park for Night.
Yeah, it's
because we didn't pick the last place from Park for Night, did we?
No,
We just pulled up.
We just pulled up. We didn't even know where we were really.
And we do that sometimes.
Not willing to take any chances, by staying put, they make the call to move on and find a different place to park. Daisy stays on edge throughout the drive, and the couple talks her through it, reassuring themselves just as much as her that getting out of there was the right move.
Park up that we've got, by the way, it's really nice, and what it appears that they've done is they've thrown an egg at the van. So they've obviously, you know, they obviously get people parking up there regularly, otherwise I'm presuming they wouldn't have had eggs on them. So they've obviously just
they've done it because they've thought, like I said last night, they've done it because they've thought it's funny, you know.
Yeah,
it's a laugh in it to them, you know.
And it's not to us because this is at home, and it's like somebody coming round
you feel attacked, like somebody's attacking your home at that point, and it's like, what do you do?
So please, people out there, if you're watching this and you've ever done out like that, don't do it because it's not nice. Yeah, stop it. It's not nice. But
once the rattling nerves settle, the two carry on exploring the Peak District. They walk misty countryside trails, soak in the views, and keep an eye out for local wildlife. They also make an attempt to track down the area's legendary mermaid pool, a spot steeped in local folklore, though it stays just out of reach on this particular trip. In spite of the fright, the whole experience ends up being one more unpredictable chapter in the story of van life on the road. The video wraps up on an uplifting note, celebrating the grit it takes to keep adventuring, the wisdom of trusting your instincts in remote spots, and the enduring pull of life lived outdoors. This clip features Ads, the creator running the YouTube channel Ads Ventures. Since the start of 2022, he's been documenting his passion for exploring off the beaten path locations, overnight camping trips, and hunting down unusual finds. His content typically carries a sense of curiosity and easygoing adventure, but on the night of June 23rd, 2025, a sudden and violent act pulled him into something far grimmer and more threatening than anything he'd bargained for. Ads had set out on what seemed like a simple enough mission to track down a rare antique piece from a shop along the Kent coast. What was supposed to be an enjoyable little treasure hunt started with him scouting a good place to park his van for the night, somewhere near Winchelsea.
Extremely, and I stress, extremely important mission like no other. Unless, of course, somebody's done a mission that's similar before, then it's a mission. Well, I haven't come as far as Rye because I looked on the map and parking there seemed like a bit of a nightmare. There's height barriers on all the car parks. So we're in a place now called Winchelsea, or we're near Winchelsea anyway. I think we're on the way there. We should be there in 1 minute. And because the antique shop is going to be shut today already, I'm thinking we're just going to rock up here, have some dinner, which is something I've never had before, by the way, and then from there we can go on to this shop in the morning. I found this one here. I don't know if I trust it. Is it wide enough? Far enough from the danger of the road?
He took his time picking a quiet lay-by, making sure he was well away from the main road and unlikely to have company, convinced he'd landed himself a peaceful spot among grazing sheep and rolling countryside views. As the evening settled in, he got comfortable inside the van and started putting together an unusual dinner, completely unaware that while he was enjoying his meal, something threatening was taking shape just beyond his doors.
With a base layer of red Leicester cheese. In fact, I need that to fill all the way to the end. On the other half, we will be using mozzarella. And are you ready for this? This game-changing toasty guts. Wait for it. Oh, the glory. The absolute glory of it all. And a technique which I'm going to pass on to you now is you can use the cheese like a spatula to spread it out to all four corners. And we simply just reconstruct the toasty, add the inner lid, add the outer lid, turn the power on, fire up the induction hob, and just like that, I'm so confused about what's going on outside, right? Look at this. What is that? It looks like smoke coming out. Right, hold on a second, this is bad. Right, some lorry was just outside mine. Or just out the front. I swear that's a fire, that is not clouds. What is happening? It is. What is happening?
Later that night, the calm was violently interrupted when something caught his eye, smoke rising in the distance, the glow intensifying with every passing second. As the scale of what he was seeing began to sink in, a creeping dread came over him, the kind that tells you this wasn't any kind of accident.
Trying to film me at the same time as filming the fire up there. Something bad's happened, obviously. I know who it was because there was someone on my CCTV. It was all a bit weird. I'll tell you about it in a minute. I'm going to go speak to this bus driver.
Whereabouts are we?
We're in Winchelsea.
Down near Winchelsea Beach. There's a fire involving a caravan by the looks of it.
Pet Level Road.
Okay, thank you, my love. They've had several more calls. I've just rang them, and basically they are on their way.
Right.
They have had more calls.
I'm just going to go spin my van around in case someone comes back and does that to my van, because someone's done that.
It has looked like it has been done.
Well, it has been done because the geezer just ran past me, jumped in his motor and sped off that way.
It could be arson then.
Right, someone set fire to the van that's just down the road behind me, and it was the person who was parked in front of me. I'll explain more in a minute, but I need to move my van in case they're going to do it to mine as well. Obviously, I'm no longer going to be staying here, but the old Bill, they're going to want to talk to me about this. I can see a flashing light up near it, so that's obviously some sort of traffic control coming along. The camper van is fully ablaze behind me there. This is no joke. We've got a massive tail of traffic all down here. I can hear the fire engine in the background making its way up. This is not good.
The moment it clicked that someone had deliberately started that fire, a wave of fear hit him hard. He wasted no time relocating his van, genuinely concerned he might be the next thing this unknown person decided to target. Once he'd moved, he edged toward the scene to get a closer look, and what he found stopped him cold.
Now, you see the fire engine's just down there. The camper van is now in ashes on the floor. It's been completely burnt out. You can see the guys just down there spraying the last bits to make sure it's fully out. But that is the end of one vehicle. I guess I've got to wait for the police to turn up, because if I leave the scene, they're going to think it's suspicious. But other than that, I don't know what to do. Obviously, I'm not going to sleep here for the night now. It sounds like it might have been targeted on that particular van because it's been sat there for ages, apparently. But you never know, it could have been just a random camper van burn. But at the moment, there's no point in just continuing to film the old flashing light ahead of me there. The fire's out, so as we speak, look, it's stopped flashing. The fire engine's driving off. It looks like the drama has finished for now. But I am going to sit tight and see if the police turn up, because, like I say, if I disappear now...
The camper van that had stood there was now nothing more than a blackened shell, its remains scattered across the ground while firefighters worked to kill the last of the flames. Notably, there wasn't a single police officer in sight, which left ads with a head full of unanswered questions and an unsettling sense that the danger hadn't fully passed. After putting some distance between himself and the scene, and finding a quieter spot further up the road, ads went through his van's CCTV footage the following day, determined to piece together exactly what had gone down.
I looked up on the CCTV and I saw a van just parked up in front of me. Now, bear in mind that I'd chosen to park in this particular lay-by because it's a small one. Now, some of these lay-bys up here are absolutely massive. There's other small ones as well, but there's plenty of them, right? So I thought, if I park there where that car was, that's where we were, no one's going to come into this spot because there's just no need for it. And whilst I was eating, I looked up on my CCTV, like I said, and I saw a van was parked there. Now, I was going to get out of the van and make a joke about it. I was going to say, how dare they park in my driveway and all this, just for a laugh. But before I had a chance to do that, I was finishing my food, and like I said, this geezer ran past the van that way and up here. Now, as soon as I heard his footsteps running and panting past my van, I looked up on the CCTV. I was like, what's that about? Why is someone out for a run at this time of night? But I saw that he jumped straight into his van and sped off, which I thought was a bit weird, and I was wondering why. But in my head, I just come to the conclusion that maybe he'd been caught short. He needed the toilet, and he'd run up onto the beach, done his business, and then he jumped back in the van and just carried on his journey. So I looked back on the camera, and I saw a light on the front camera and a light on the rear camera. Now, that's not out of the blue. I thought it was just headlights coming down the road. One of them was. It was a bus that was coming down this road here. That's the bus that you saw last night. And the other light was up there, which turned out to be the fire, but at the time I thought it was another headlight coming down. But then I noticed the light from the back of the van was getting brighter, and there were some clouds, right? Now, bearing in mind, it's a split screen, so it was really small what I was looking at. I could see these dark clouds coming over, and I was like, that doesn't look normal. It was a bit weird. And then I put it onto channel 2 so I could see the whole thing full screen, and obviously that's when I realised it looked like a fire.
What the recording showed was deeply unsettling. A van had pulled up and parked directly in front of his, even though there were larger, more convenient laybys nearby. He watched as a figure climbed out, walked right past his van, and headed up toward the beach, where the person crouched down and appeared to be getting something ready.
You saw everything unfold as it happened, but last night after checking my CCTV, I found out what happened prior to all of that. He got out of his van from here. He's walked along past my van and he has approached the stairs which lead up towards the beach. So he's made his way up those stairs and he's come along the top bit here. Now, as he's got to about this point right here, you can see him on my camera. He bends down and he's sort of preparing something. He's probably got, I don't know, petrol in his lighters or whatever. But basically he's doing something up on this spot here where he's sort of ducking down and looking in his bag or whatever it is. Now he's doing that for about 30 seconds and then he starts heading down this ramp here, back towards the spot over here where the fire took place. So now he's back down on the road here and he's not far from where the inferno took place. And as you can see, it is just here in front of us. Now at this point you can't really see exactly what he does, but that's the last I see of him for a while, because what I think must have happened, there were cars coming up and down this road at the time, so he's probably just wanted to get away from this as quick as possible, and he's taken this route up here, so I couldn't see that bit on the camera, and I didn't spot him again for a while until he was further back there. But there is more on that CCTV of him disappearing into the night, so I'll show you that bit in a minute. But first, let's just take a look at this. And to be honest, this just confirms what I thought after watching back the footage. There was a few people that were on that bus that were basically saying it was a caravan. At the time, I thought, I don't know why, I just in my head thought they were referring to like a motorhome type of thing. But it looks like it was actually just a caravan, not a motor caravan or not a camper van, because you can see the structure of it here is completely demolished. And obviously, if it was a proper vehicle, there'd be some sort of structure left. So from here, he has obviously come up these steps that are right next to the blaze, and he's come up onto the beach here because I couldn't spot him on the CCTV at this point for a little while. And so we're back now where my van and his van was parked. So he's come all the way along this bit on top of the beach, basically. He hasn't even come this close to the road here because I couldn't spot him at all on this bit. The next time you see him on the CCTV, he's literally standing up there on the bank next to his van, and he's sort of looking back, probably to check that the fire's started properly. And once he realises his mission is complete, that's when he runs back down the steps past my van at an extraordinary rate. And that is obviously the point where I first heard him in person, and then he's jumped back into his van and disappeared into the night. So from looking at all of that, it looks to me.
The footage went on to show the individual making their way down a ramp toward the spot where the fire would eventually break out, slipping out of the camera's direct line of sight between passing vehicles. The arsonist then reappeared on the embankment beside Ad's van, watching the fire grow to make sure the job was done. Then the figure sprinted back past Ad's van, visibly out of breath, jumped back into their vehicle, and disappeared into the darkness, the very moment Ads first heard them in real time. Everything the footage showed pointed to something deliberate and premeditated, even if the reason behind it stayed completely unclear.
If that was completely random, for all he knew, there could have been people inside that thing. Or he could have picked a different vehicle and it could have been mine. But thankfully that wasn't the case, and there wasn't anyone in that caravan. So it could have been a lot worse. We need to look on the bright side, and we also need to get back to the original theme of this video. Now, I was going to explain all this last night, but obviously the video steered itself into a new direction. So basically, last week, my mum was in an antique shop in Rye, and she saw a rare item which she really liked the look of. Now, it's her birthday in a few days' time, so I thought I would come and buy that item. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know what it looks like. It's sort of a vasey, teapotty item. I will recognise it when I see it. But the reason why I didn't ring ahead was because if they know that I'm coming down just for that item, they might hoik the price up. And I don't even know what the price is in the first place. In fact, I hope I can afford it. But yeah, the whole theme of this video was going to revolve around that Holy Grail, and I was going to be trekking across loads of fields. There's like a castle nearby. We're going to go on a proper mission to get to this antique shop on foot. But because most of the video is now taken up with the carnage that happened last night, we're going to keep this section brief. I'm just going to drive there as close as I can, find a parking spot, and hopefully go in and secure the Holy Grail. What an absolute legend. Right, we got to go to the other side of that bit there. It's just some sort of marina thing. Go around the water, find a shop, hopefully secure the prize.
Ad sat with the weight of how random and disturbing the whole thing was, and it didn't take long for him to realize just how narrowly he'd avoided something catastrophic. Had that other vehicle not been parked in front of his, the arsonist might well have chosen his van as the target, and at that point, Ads was still inside it. The implications of that were genuinely terrifying, the kind of thing that could have turned fatal in moments. While whatever drove the arsonist to act that night remains a mystery, incidents like this often point to deeply disturbed individuals with destructive or even predatory impulses, which makes the whole encounter that much more chilling. Thankfully, both Ads and his vehicle came through without harm. A stark reminder of how fast things can go wrong and how razor-thin the gap between safety and catastrophe can be. For every close call that ends well, there are others that don't, which speaks to just how unpredictable and dangerous these random encounters can turn out to be. With the worst of it behind him, Ads felt a genuine sense of relief, but he wasn't about to let the night's events throw him off course. He found parking without any trouble, made his way to the shop, and walked away with the rare vasey teapot he'd come for. What had started as a genuinely frightening brush with disaster wrapped up with the successful recovery of a one-of-a-kind piece, transforming a harrowing night into a story about luck, level-headedness, and the stubborn will to see things through. In October 2023, a YouTuber by the name of Rick posted a video to his channel, Rick in His Van, chronicling a solo camping trip that quickly turned into something frightening. He drove his camper out to a remote forest to spend the night, hoping to track down an abandoned tin church buried somewhere deep among the trees. After making dinner and waiting for darkness to fall, he headed into the woods, armed with nothing but a flashlight. He eventually locates the eerie little structure, but on his way back to where he'd left his camera gear, something stops him dead in his tracks.
The hell is that? Hello? Hello? Hang on. Did someone deduce?
Standing motionless right beside his equipment in the pitch black is a figure, completely silent, just watching. Coming across a still, wordless stranger in the middle of a deserted forest in the dead of night is about as unsettling as it gets. Not willing to stick around and find out what this person wants, Rick snatches up his gear, rushes back to his van, and locks himself inside. He tries to shake it off and turns in for the night around 11 p.m., hoping everything has calmed down and he can just rest. But at 1 a.m., he's jolted awake by sounds coming from directly outside his window.
What is it? 1 o'clock in the morning, and I swear blind, I just got woken up by someone trying the van door handles. There was a knock. There was definitely a knock. Someone was trying the van door handles as well. I'm going to turn the lights out.
Somebody is banging on the side of the van and physically yanking at the door handles, trying to force their way in. Being cornered inside a vehicle while unknown people attempt to break through the doors, miles from any kind of help, is a deeply terrifying thing to experience.
I heard a car pull up. There's definitely a car pulled up outside. I'm gonna have a look.
He keeps completely still and holds his breath as a car eventually pulls up, lingers for a moment, then disappears down the road. Thinking they'd given up and moved on, he attempts to settle back to sleep. But at 2:45 a.m., things take a sharp turn for the worse when that same vehicle rolls back and parks directly outside his camper once again.
I've heard that car come back at its spot. 2:45 now. That van's come back, well, that car's come back. That 4x4 vehicle. I can't hear anyone. I can't hear anyone talking outside.
The fact that they returned makes one thing very clear. This was no random car passing through. They had a specific target, and they were biding their time waiting for an opportunity. Recognizing just how much danger he's in, Rick concludes that spending another minute there isn't worth the risk. Without setting foot outside, he crawls straight from his bed into the driver's seat, fires up the engine, and tears out of the forest as fast as the van will carry him. He made it home safely by early morning. But he never did learn who that silent figure in the trees was, or who had been so determined to get inside his van. On January 24th, 2026, the YouTube channel Brian Waters Outdoors posted a video in which he made camp entirely by himself at a secluded, out-of-the-way location just as a major ice storm was bearing down on Texas.
We're good. We should have heat tonight. 7 liters of diesel in here, full battery.
The spot appeared serene and undisturbed at first, but once the sun began to drop, the quiet surrounding him grew into something almost eerie. There was something about the area that felt deliberately avoided, like people had their reasons for not coming around.
Some animals tonight, because there's a ton of tracks. I saw a bunch of deer coming up here. I've already got my chair set up. It feels kind of weird being out here, to be honest, kind of almost like an ominous vibe, because let's see, in about 26 hours, Texas is going to be completely shut down. We are going to get that Arctic ice storm that's coming in similar to 2021. Probably not quite as bad as 2021, but they're claiming or predicting we're going to get around an inch of ice, ½ inch to an inch of ice, and 3 to 4 inches of snow. That doesn't sound bad. I know I was talking to a buddy that lives up in Wisconsin today. I think they're predicted to get like 30 below, I think is what he said, and 8 to 10 inches of snow. But I told him, I'm like, dude, we're getting an inch of ice. And he agreed that he would much rather have what he's getting than what's in store for Texas. So we are coming up here, guys. I could see the line coming out of Walmart.
Even as he tried to kick back and settle in for the night, a weird tension lingered in the atmosphere, the kind that has you scanning your surroundings over and over without being able to explain why.
On and off. As soon as it stops moving, it gets cold. I think it's around 50.
For a stretch of time, the evening unfolded just as he'd anticipated, a crackling fire, a hot meal, and complete solitude deep in the wild. Slowly, though, that sense of peace began curdling into something much less comfortable.
Well, guys, I don't know what it is about this little spot, but I've had a really good time on this episode. It's been super relaxing. Dinner was awesome. Really, there's no one around me. There's a tent camper 100 yards away. And I think I've just been looking forward to getting back out here in that truck camper since a couple of weeks ago. So it's just been a good vibe all around, and definitely good drinks. I'm struggling to get the second one down. I hate to admit, but it's been a good evening. Because I'm sitting here trying to enjoy my fire, and out of nowhere,
at first, he couldn't quite process what he was seeing. A figure had emerged from the darkness, moving in a strange and erratic way. What made it all the more unsettling was that not a single other person had been spotted anywhere in the area throughout the entire day.
I'm gonna go ahead and call him a nutbag. Probably 100 yards away from me, dancing around. Just feels kind of weird. Luckily, you know, I don't go anywhere without protection, but that's the last thing that I want to have to do while out here enjoying camping. But I don't know where he came from. I don't know if he's staying in that tent that's, you know, probably about 100 yards away. But there's definitely something wrong with that dude. Here's what I'm looking at right now, and you can see that he's well having a good time inside his little mind. I don't know what's going on with this dude. So yeah, I'm probably not going to sleep quite as well as I thought that I was going to tonight, knowing that that's around me.
Then things took a much more alarming turn. The figure began drifting steadily in the direction of the campsite. With every passing moment, the gap between them narrowed, and whatever calm had remained evaporated entirely.
Looks like he's walking over this way now. I don't know. Wish me luck.
The man out there kept wandering aimlessly, almost as though he either hadn't registered that a campsite was right there, or genuinely didn't care that someone was watching him.
Their eyes, so I'm having to use my phone to kind of watch them. So, we'll see. Oh man, what a what a way to end the night. What a crazy nutbag. I gotta get buckled down here real quick. Alright, well, interesting. That definitely made for an interesting end of the evening. I knew something looked weird with that campsite, and I don't know if the guy's drunk or if he's on meth. I have no idea.
Suddenly, every tiny sound inside the truck felt threatening. Even routine noises from gear powering on seemed sharp enough to draw unwanted attention. The safety of the vehicle no longer felt guaranteed, and the isolation that had once been so appealing now felt like a serious liability.
Doors open. And this is the one time I wish I had a fiberglass shell, to be honest with you. But my cooler just cut on and I thought it was something out there. Oh, I should sleep really well tonight. Luckily, I'm a card-carrying member in Texas. And don't worry guys, this isn't getting that weird. I'm sure YouTube's gonna hate me, but it's the first time I've ever really felt like I needed this. So we're gonna keep that nice and close tonight. But I honestly probably don't think that he would make it 10 feet without falling over. I can't see him with my eyes anymore, but I can.
Inside, he remained on full alert, tracking every sound from outside with complete focus, fully aware that things could spiral in an instant if the stranger chose to close the distance any further. The most unsettling part was having no way of knowing whether the man had actually moved on or was still lurking somewhere out there in the dark.
What he's doing, and he's finally, I guess, trying to start a fire. He's out there chopping live trees down to get his firewood. So yeah, very interesting. But I will say, my gosh guys, it is very warm in here. It is nice and toasty. It's gonna get cold tonight, and I don't want to have another night like a couple weeks ago where it was just bitter cold in here. So I'm totally okay with that. So I think I'm gonna get my curtain put up on the back for sure tonight. And at least on this side tonight, I've got this wood side panel for my diesel heater, so a little bit harder to I guess get into. What a nut. So all right, I gotta change clothes, get this more set up, and we'll check back in. Hey guys, that curtain.
The night ultimately ended without any direct confrontation, but the dread and unease never really loosened their grip.
Good morning, folks. It is 5:50 a.m. I don't know if you can hear, but it has started raining here. Luckily,
It's not freezing yet. I don't even know what the weather is. 41 degrees right now. But yeah, the rain is here. It's too early to have to get up. I don't have to get up. It's too early to wake up. Oh, why am I awake so early? I guess morning time confessionals here, guys. I didn't have any.
Even come morning, with daylight breaking through the rain, one thought refused to leave. Sometimes the most frightening places are the ones that feel perfectly still and harmless, right up until the moment you understand you were never truly out there alone.
McGee, wherever he went, I don't know where he is, but it was a pretty quiet night. Aside from the fact, it was just in my head that dude was out there dancing around being crazy, not knowing what he was on. But
Carter Broom is an outdoors enthusiast from Cincinnati who throws himself into everything the wild has to offer: snowboarding, cliff jumping, backcountry camping, bushcraft, mountaineering, and documents all of it on his YouTube channel, Degenerate Wilderness. In this particular video, he and a group of friends set out to camp somewhere deep in the Ohio woodlands. They packed everything they thought they'd need and went through their gear carefully to make sure the trip would go off without a hitch.
Rattlesnake down in somewhere Ohio. It's pretty good. Got the string lights from Amazon. Wetsuits right there. Tarp we're gonna throw up. I just got this new, which one is it? Nemo something.
Moonlight Elite.
Yeah.
Nemo chair.
Yeah, they're pretty nice. About a pound. Not bad at all.
Very expensive though, but
yeah, really expensive. We just got, all three of us, upgraded our sleeping pads because the Amazon ones were not cutting it. Look at that.
Now, remember how I mentioned they were so thorough about being prepared? Turns out there was one thing they completely forgot to look into: the weather forecast, and once they finally pulled it up, it became clear they might be in serious danger.
They're looking like?
looks like it's pretty stormy.
Yeah, 25 mile an hour.
30 mile per hour winds, tornado warnings, mad thunderstorms, but you know, we should be good. We got 9 to 1 a.m. thunderstorm chances. It was like 10 to 12, but now it's 9 to 1.
Said it was gonna start coming down at 9. Yeah, rain's about to start coming in now, so.
We're trying to pack up what we can. We have to leave the tents. We're about to run to the car.
80 mile an hour winds is so dangerous.
Slides, yeah.
Flying debris.
No, they actually might blow away. There's a good chance. I don't think they go far. He's pretty much ready to go.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Good thing they sent us that warning. Yeah, for real. That was God. We just prayed. That was God, bro.
Mine blew out at 60 miles an hour. Mine blew away. It'll be fine. Bro.
It's not gonna go far. I'm willing to take that chance.
I guess you can cuddle up with me if you lose everything. Come on, Christian.
It's like, seriously, bro.
Like, come on. This is like... Let's get the we gotta go. Christian, come on. Is this the right way?
Wait, might be more left.
I think it's
right.
left. Yeah, I think it's that way. Emergency evacuation.
Evacuation.
80 mile an hour winds.
They bolted toward their vehicle as fast as their legs could carry them, a massive tornado bearing down on their location. But the moment they reached the car, a horrifying realization stopped them cold.
Holy shit. You gotta just look, get a video on the top left. It'll string out. Oh my God.
No, we don't have the car key.
No.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's in the tent.
No,
I swear.
Did you not grab it?
No, I forgot it.
You're gonna have to run back.
I don't want to go alone. Rod's gonna be pissed.
Oh, he's gonna be so mad.
I don't think we can go back in there. To the woods.
You don't think?
Maybe. Rod, we got a major problem.
What?
We don't got the car key.
Where?
It's in the tent.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Are you serious?
It's on my life.
Alright, we're gonna have to go get it.
Yeah. I don't want to go alone. We have to either go back or call an Uber.
You have to call an Uber then.
Should we go back for it or?
Oh no, bro. Yeah, bro. I mean, for real.
I don't know, but we gotta decide now.
Yeah, bro. So it's about to start hailing. It said it was gonna hail tonight. Dude, we should like.
What they chose to do next was, to put it generously, not their best decision. Rather than hunting for any kind of shelter, they somehow concluded that the right move was to turn around and head back for the car keys.
All right, let's go now.
All right.
We could hitchhike.
Wait, bro. It's your call. Don't come down here. It's fine. I'm not crossing here. It's your fault, bro.
They eventually made it back to camp and tracked down the keys, but the situation deteriorated rapidly on the return trip. Fist-sized hailstones started hammering down all around them, the kind that can cause serious injury or worse. They managed to reach the car, got out of the area, and pulled into a Burger King where the roof offered at least a little protection. Even so, the hail had already done a brutal number on the vehicle, racking up what must have been a costly repair bill, though considering the alternative, they got off easy. The whole ordeal is a pretty stark reminder of why checking the forecast before heading out into the wilderness is absolutely non-negotiable, particularly when you're far from your car or any kind of civilization. Anyone who's ever seen what a tornado leaves behind doesn't need to be told twice. Staying aware of conditions out there isn't optional, because being caught in the open with debris, branches, and uprooted trees tearing through the air is about as dangerous as it gets. Fortunately for them, the worst of it just barely missed. Romany Pirates is the YouTube channel run by Emma and Ree, a married couple who have spent years living full-time on the road, touring the UK and Europe in a self-converted van alongside their dog Daisy. That van was far more than a vehicle. It was their living space, their bedroom, their sanctuary, and the one place in the world where they felt truly safe after a long day of travel. But one particular night, after pulling into an unfamiliar spot and turning in early, that sense of security vanished within seconds.
On the way to the boat, we've just been up, picked some more supplies up, so that's been another 40 quid. So we've decided that we're going to sack it all off, we're going to take off for the night, and we're just going to go and get away into nature. Reese needs to go wild swimming, despite the fact that it's absolutely siling it down out here. He wants to go in more water, so we're going to take off and just...
The location had seemed fine when they arrived. Nothing out of the ordinary, no red flags, no reason to feel uneasy. They wound down, drifted off, and were completely at rest, which is exactly what made what came next so terrifying. While they slept, totally unaware and defenseless, someone outside was about to shatter the calm completely. With zero warning, a violent bang struck the side of the van, hard enough to rip them both out of sleep instantly. In that disoriented, half-conscious state, there was no way to know what they were dealing with. A break-in attempt, structural damage, the beginning of something far more serious. They reached for the camera almost on instinct, knowing that whatever was unfolding, they needed it on record. Then came the sound of laughter from outside, followed by a car tearing off into the darkness. And honestly, that detail made everything worse. This wasn't a random accident. Whoever it was had deliberately approached the van while Emma and Ree were sleeping inside. Daisy was trembling before either of them had even fully come to their senses, her body reacting to the fear in the air.
Some noises outside. We've heard like a lot of people going on. And we've already heard quite a bit of like banging around and stuff going on outside. We don't know what it is, we don't know what's happening. I said to Reese to like go and check and see. And he's had a look out, we can see quite a few people, quite a few cars. I don't want to get outside because I don't know what I'm walking into. I've had to like feed Daisy like 5 sausages already because as soon as she heard noises she started barking.
They didn't hesitate, they got moving. There was no point sitting there wondering whether those people might circle back. The spot that had felt perfectly peaceful just minutes before now felt completely hostile. It took roughly 30 minutes of driving before either of them could string a proper sentence together, still rattled by the reality that strangers had been standing right outside their home while they slept.
About, what, 30 minutes?
Yeah, about 30 minutes down the road.
We found another park.
Just shaking.
Poor Daisy, she's literally shaking.
So they basically, a load of people ran off laughing, and we heard them drive off. I've had a look at the van. Can't see any damage to the van, but obviously it's dark, it's night time, it's the middle of the night, so...
There was just like a loud bang, so basically like a really loud bang. It was right next to my head, so I didn't know what it was, so I apologise for my language, but it was just this really loud noise, and then like Reece says, we just heard like a lot of laughing. As soon as we knew it had sort of gone quiet, we've just obviously got straight in van, we've driven off.
Once they found somewhere else to stop, they attempted to get back to sleep, but it was next to impossible. After something like that, every little sound from outside takes on a new weight. A car rolling past, a rustling branch, distant footsteps. Suddenly, every noise demands your attention because you can't see who might be lurking just beyond those walls.
That was last night.
Fun night,
That was eventful, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's can I just say, like, on reflection, it was really frightening, wasn't it? But yeah, what I don't want, because we weren't sure whether to share this, and I said I don't want to put people off, like, van life, or if you're new to this, please don't let this frighten you. We've been doing it like 11 years now.
Yeah, and we've never had any
And we've
trouble.
never ever had that, like, you know.
And it can happen. It's like, you know, you can end up in life where sometimes one person does something and you judge everybody else based on that one thing that somebody's done. That is a true reflection
Yeah, it's the reality,
of how we
innit?
felt.
Yeah.
You know, at that moment, that is how we felt. We were quite scared. We got the camera out in order, because I thought if anything goes wrong, we're filming it. Do you know, and we've got some proof if something happens, so that's why I'd got the camera out. And you know, obviously, like, you know, we share every moment of our lives with you, so, you know, as much as we possibly can. So we're just carrying on. It's like natural to us, you know, to do that. Basically, don't let it put you off, but it were just some of that, and want it. It were, you know, and in reflection, it's just kids. You know, so we've had a look. We've had a look at the van in the daylight now in this beautiful park up that we've got. By the way, it's really nice. And what it appears that they've done is they've thrown an egg at the van. So they've obviously, you know, they obviously get people parking up there regularly.
Come morning, they got a proper look at the exterior and discovered the van had been pelted with eggs. On the surface, that might seem minor. No smashed glass, no forced entry, no significant damage done. But that wasn't the part that lingered. What they couldn't shake was the image of lying there, fast asleep, while someone crept close enough to strike the van, laugh about it, and disappear into the night. That is the part that cuts deep for anyone making a vehicle their permanent home. The walls are thin, the locks only do so much, and when something wakes you in the dark, you're already on the back foot. Emma and Ree were fortunate it didn't escalate, but after that night, their little home on wheels had never felt quite so exposed. Up next, we have James, the mind behind a YouTube channel called By the Curb, where he documents his life on the road, van life adventures, travel vlogs, constantly moving to new places, and sharing whatever the journey throws at him. On January 16th, 2025, James headed out for another solo van camping trip, this time in Sunderland, and managed to find what looked like a decent, peaceful spot to settle in for the night. That peace, however, didn't hold. Sometime after drifting off to sleep, he was snapped awake by loud, unsettling noises right outside the van, instantly destroying any sense of security he'd felt. And without even thinking, he reached for his camera and hit record. What was supposed to be an uneventful overnight stop quickly turned into something much darker.
We're going to go and take it to the section. I'll put this to this one. I'm not all right. Old one. And you see a on the front, his father was a Briton. His father, his grandfather, was a Briton and on the back. Did not work with that one. I'm not the third door. I'm not the private race. I'm not a first, is an English footballer. Now, Reef, I don't know what it means. You can see when you put on the dead people who you're supposed to love. Punch that, I haven't never heard before. There's all new modern technology. You've got photo shot like this on there. With your cameras on,
So I've got some nutter shouting outside van. Get my shoes on. It's still there, look. It's coming back. So I'm just hoping that it'll get fed up and bugger off. So, I'm laid in bed, my hand's shaking, bloody hell. I'm laid in bed with my head up that end, and then there's a massive almighty bang. Absolutely scared the life out of me. I didn't know what I thought it was. I just thought it was some, like it was some drunk or something like that. So I pulled blind down slowly, because I've got CCTV, but they're all like misted up, so you couldn't see anything. Pulled blind down slowly, and there's a bloody face at the window. Then he wrote something up that window. I don't know, I'll have a look at that when it's light. So I've taken my table down, and I've got that. And I've just sat here probably for about 30 minutes listening to him shouting at Van. I was peeking at him through a window, and he sounded very threatening, going on about mental health issues and being stabbed in the head and all stuff like that. So you're thinking, oh God, we've got one here. But I think I don't know. I'm saying I didn't feel as scared as I thought, but I did, probably. But I thought, worst comes to worst, I could get out and confront him. And it was probably one of them people that, you know, during the course of the day, just random nutter just shouting stuff that they're not that scary, but with that situation, because I'd just been shocked like that, my heart's still going. And then I thought I'd get in cab and drive off, but I'm facing the wrong way. It's a dead end down there. So that's something to bear in mind in future. But that's the first time in 2 years. That is the first time anything remotely like that has happened. And I'm in the middle of nowhere, like near a farm. Well, you'll see, I don't know if it'll get on this vlog or whatever, you'll see where I am. I'm still not going to be negative about van life or all like that. As I said, it's first time in 2 years this has happened. But I think you should just take a little bit of precautions, like even just little things like thinking about where you're parked so you can get away quick. But I wouldn't have been able to get away that quick because all wind is steamed up in it, you know, with condensation. Anyway, I ain't getting back to sleep now.
A man was positioned just feet away from James's van. With no warning, he started hammering on the windows, sharp, aggressive blows cutting through the dead of night. Then, using his finger against the foggy glass, he traced out 3 deeply unsettling words: "I love you." That message alone was enough to make James's blood run cold. The man's voice was loud, erratic, unhinged. Every instinct James had screamed to him to stay absolutely still. There was no escape route. The van's thin metal walls were the only barrier between him and whatever was unfolding just outside, and the minutes felt like they stretched on forever. The man wouldn't go away, pacing, shouting obscenities, screaming into the night for nearly 30 minutes straight. His words lurched between what sounded like demands, then threats, then pure incoherence, as though he had no grip on his own mind. He didn't come across as rational, he didn't come across as stable. James didn't move, he didn't make a sound. He sat completely frozen, hardly breathing, hoping that staying invisible would be enough, willing the man to lose interest and fade back into the darkness.
Right, he's moved on, he's gone down there. I don't know if there's some more motorhomes down there that he's shouting at now. I think he's probably pretty harmless. That just freaked me out though, that. I don't know what to do. I don't think I've got enough space to do a U-turn here. I don't know if you can see him at distance. Another van's come and he's buggered off now. I don't know what's going on down there. I think there's some sort of, I don't know, farm or depot or something like that. So, I'm not going to let that put me off van life at all. It's the best thing I've ever done. I absolutely love it. And I don't want it to put you off. It is what it is, isn't it? One thing that's come to mind is that I've seen some alarms. There's these fancy alarms you can get. So, you know, if somebody like touches van, you've seen them, or if they touch your vehicle, it sets an alarm off, or it gives them a warning and then it sets an alarm off.
Eventually, the man stopped shouting and drifted away from the van, but he didn't fully leave the area. For several drawn-out minutes, he remained somewhere nearby, his presence still hanging in the silence like a threat. James stayed locked in, senses on overdrive, ears tuned to every sound, ready for the man to come back or for things to take another turn. Sleep never returned, but the night crawled by, and James came out the other side without harm. Afterwards, James turned the whole thing over in his head, trying to piece it together, and none of it added up. The banging, the screaming, the words written on the glass, it all felt fragmented and chaotic. The man's ranting had jumped around constantly, veering from something that sounded threatening to something that made no sense whatsoever. Whether he was dealing with a mental health crisis, was under the influence of something, or something else entirely, James had no way of knowing. What was clear was that nothing about it was normal, and that lack of clarity made the whole thing even more terrifying. By the time morning arrived, James had gotten through the night without anything further happening, but the experience wasn't something he could just shake off. Moments like this are an unspoken reality for people living the van life or traveling solo. Those who seek out freedom and solitude will inevitably cross paths with strangers whose motives range from curious to hostile to something far worse. In those situations, there's no manual to follow, only gut instinct. James's choice to keep quiet and not engage almost certainly kept things from spiraling further. He never learned what that man actually wanted, and maybe that lingering question is exactly what makes the whole encounter so hard to let go of. Sometimes getting through something isn't about acting, it's about knowing when to hold back, because trusting that inner voice can be the very thing that gets you to the other side. Larry is a solo RV camper operating out of the American Southwest, who runs a channel called Work Less, Enjoy Life More, where he documents a quieter, more laid-back approach to off-grid life. His content typically centers on everyday routines, setting up his compact truck camper, whipping up meals on a cast-iron skillet, and wandering through peaceful desert landscapes, all with his 2 loyal chihuahuas, Mason and Marty, always close by. It's the sort of channel people throw on when they need to decompress. Unhurried, grounded, and consistent. which is exactly what makes what unfolded during this particular trip so much more unsettling when you sit with it. It was June 2nd, 2022, and Larry had settled in for what was supposed to be another quiet night deep in the woods. He'd pulled his truck camper into a secluded spot with plans to make dinner, wind down, and soak in the surrounding silence. Inside, everything felt routine, just the gentle hiss of his stove and the faint ambient sounds drifting in from outside. That sense of calm, however, didn't hold. Mid-cook, he was stopped cold by a knock coming from the back of the RV. His first instinct was to brush it off, a branch maybe, or the wind doing something odd. But the knocking persisted, slow and measured, with a deliberate quality that made him go still and pay attention. Seconds later, he picked up the sound of footsteps outside, moving around the perimeter of the camper as though something or someone was circling him in the darkness. He reached for his firearm without hesitation and held his position inside, every noise from beyond the walls suddenly feeling amplified and close. But it didn't end there. The nature of the knocking began to shift, evolving into what sounded like knuckles being dragged slowly across the door, a long drawn-out scraping that felt far too purposeful to be accidental, almost as if whatever was out there wanted a response.
One more knock. Just one knock. I don't want to move.
With no way to identify the source, Larry kept himself awake through the night and only ventured outside once daylight arrived. When he finally stepped out and looked around, he found subtle indicators that someone may have been stationed nearby in the tree line, watching him throughout the night.
Okay, this chair was over here by the table last night when I went to bed.
And right as he was preparing to pack up and head out, two more details caught his eye. A bare-bones campsite consisting of nothing but a tent, positioned less than half a mile away, and across the road, a truck with an unfamiliar man sitting inside it. That was all Larry needed to see. He got out of there fast, putting as much distance as he could between himself and a place that had stopped feeling anything like a refuge. Alex and Emma are a British couple whose entire world revolves around travel and exploration. Their channel documents the full spectrum of their adventures, the incredible highs and the brutal lows, all in the hope of motivating others to pursue the life they've always dreamed of. Their content is typically feel-good and full of energy, but this particular story, if things had gone differently, we wouldn't be featuring it here today. The couple had just taken a major step forward in their journey by purchasing their very first camper van. After several weeks of mechanical work at a local garage, the vehicle was finally road ready, and the excitement building between them was almost tangible. Everything seemed to be lining up perfectly. Then, without warning, everything changed. It was May 28th, 22. Alex and Emma were out taking care of everyday tasks sorting a few things out and swinging by the post office to send back some parcels. Nothing about the day felt out of the ordinary. That is, until it did. On the drive home, Alex clocked something that immediately set off alarm bells. Smoke was rising from somewhere near his feet. Confusion gave way to dread almost instantly. Something was very wrong. The couple wasted no time pulling the camper van off the road. But the second Alex stepped out, his fears were confirmed. Flames were already licking the underside of the vehicle and spreading fast. He jumped out to get a better look at what they were dealing with, and seemingly out of nowhere, a stranger came sprinting toward them, clutching a fire extinguisher. He'd already seen the blaze and wasn't about to stand by and do nothing. Meanwhile, Emma was still inside the van, not yet grasping just how dangerous things had gotten.
And the van is in flames, but Emma is still in the van. I don't think you realised how serious the whole situation was at that point.
So at this point, I knew there was smoke, and I guess I just assumed it was coming from the engine and kind of making its way into the cab.
Yeah, so I was shouting at Emma to get out of the van instantly. That image of the van being on fire and Emma inside will probably stay in my mind for a very long time. It's something that keeps getting replayed. But this is when, so I had my phone on me, so started to record. So this is maybe 10 seconds after Emma got out of the van.
What have we got in there?
The man threw everything he had at those flames, working tirelessly to try and bring the fire under control. He'd almost certainly been at it longer than was safe, risking his own well-being as the blaze intensified around him. But the fire wasn't giving an inch. It consumed more of the vehicle with every passing second, creeping further and further along the van's frame. At some point, it became undeniable. There was nothing left to be done. He made a split-second decision, turned on his heels, and fled, understanding that staying a moment longer could cost him his life. That was the turning point for Alex and Emma too. The fire had taken on a life of its own, and standing anywhere near it was no longer an option. They bolted, putting as much ground between themselves and the burning van as they could, haunted by one terrifying thought: if those flames reached the fuel tank, the whole thing was going to blow.
Oh my god!
What do we do?
Oh my god, oh my god, what the f do we do? What do we do?
I don't know.
Should we run down that way? Oh my god!
I think we're going to climb over here.
Okay. Oh god. I don't know what's in this building, so I just want to go.
Run.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Well, that's an old truck.
Oh my god. Oh. Are we safe here?
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on if they have the propane tank or not.
Once we were far enough away, all we could do is just watch it burn. Our tiny home on wheels was gone.
And we're safe. We're safe.
Has anybody called 911?
No, we just ran out. Someone came with a fire extinguisher, and then
So this just happened?
Just happened. We were driving it 2 minutes ago.
Call 911.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Once the immediate danger had passed, the full weight of what was happening crashed down on them. The vehicle they'd spent weeks preparing, the one that was supposed to carry them into their next great chapter, was being devoured by fire right in front of them. They stood there, powerless, watching their dream dissolve into smoke. It was an almost unbearable thing to witness. All they could do was wait for the fire brigade, who thankfully showed up quickly, but by the time crews arrived, the outcome was already sealed. Their camper van was gone.
This absolute angel of a woman was checking to make sure we were okay. She invited us into her car to sit in the air conditioning and sort of compose ourselves and calm down.
I don't know what I would do if I was in this situation.
No, I don't know what I'm doing in this situation.
We felt very exposed outside. It was just so intense, taking a moment to sit inside a car definitely helped calm us down a bit. Once we'd calmed down a little bit, we then had to go and speak to the police and give all our details. And And again, like everyone else that we met in this frenzy, they were so nice and so reassuring.
And after what felt like an eternity, the fire department had actually put out the flames, they put out the fire, and we could go and actually see the full scale of the damage that was done.
I still got very overwhelmed, like, I didn't even notice. It was only when you shouted about the smoke.
And we're safe. Like, we're literally safe.
As devastating as the whole ordeal was, there was one thing that kept it from being a complete catastrophe. The van had been empty at the time of the fire. They hadn't moved a single possession into it yet because they planned to do exactly that the following day. Passports, laptops, and everything else they needed for the road. When they stopped to consider how narrowly they'd avoided losing all of that on top of the van itself, the whole situation felt almost surreal. But rather than letting the loss break them, Alex and Emma made a conscious choice to hold on to what mattered most. They were both safe, and their most important belongings were untouched. As crushing as the setback was, it became something of a wake-up call, a sharp reminder of how fast life can shift beneath your feet. Instead of allowing this disaster to extinguish their passion for travel, they reframed it as simply another chapter in an ongoing story, one that would eventually stand as proof of their resilience. Their love of adventure hadn't burned with the van. If anything, it had survived the fire entirely intact, along with their belief that even after the worst of moments, a fresh start is always waiting just around the corner. Slab Dog is a small YouTube channel that's existed for more than 10 years, primarily documenting family memories and lighthearted experiments. On one particular evening in October 2014, a dad decided to bring his kids out to Hummel Park in Omaha, Nebraska, armed with little more than a handful of flashlights and a camera. Sometimes, though, the most routine outings have a way of becoming something you'll carry with you forever.
Here, let's check it out. No bullshit. Come on. Come on down here with me. Come here. Guys, come here. Guys, check it out. Come here. Come down here with me right now. Guys.
That's absolutely the last thing you want to stumble across on a relaxed evening walk. Discovering a blood-soaked shirt alongside candles, arranged in the middle of the woods after dark, is about as clear a warning sign as you're ever going to get. But, as plenty of us might do in that same situation, the dad's curiosity gets the better of him. And then it happened.
Blood trail and a t-shirt. There's a bloody t-shirt. Whoa, whoa, wait a minute. Where? Where?
Right there.
Where?
Behind the tree.
What tree?
That one tree.
Which one?
That one.
Where?
Right there. Yeah.
Which one? This one here?
What do you think we're talking about? There he is.
The camera picks up what looks like a figure with an entirely white face lurking near the tree line. And what unfolds from that moment forward shows just how fast a family adventure can spiral into a frantic scramble to get away.
Go. I just saw him. Go. Don't fall. Don't fall off the stairs. Oh shit. Get your flashlight. Hurry. He had a white face. He had a totally white face. I thought you guys were kidding. Don't fall. Don't fall. Don't fall.
Oh my gosh, stop it! You're going the wrong way!
Hello? We saw something really weird up there, man, so if we're gonna go check it out.
No! Dad! No!
We saw a bloody t-shirt. We're just gonna make sure no one's hurt, okay?
That's actually a pretty level-headed move. If there genuinely was a bloodstained shirt and signs that somebody may have been harmed, reaching out for help was absolutely the right call. The father confirms to whoever is on the line that someone will be dispatched to investigate, and you'd expect that to wrap things up neatly. They'd reported what they found, they were safely inside the car, putting distance between themselves and the park. Done and dusted, right?
It's real? Back it up! Back it up. I'm trying to back up, I can't. I don't want to crash. He's coming back in the
As they roll down that darkened road trying to leave behind whatever they'd encountered back there, the pale-faced figure materializes once more. Only this time, it's planted right in the center of the road, cutting off their route entirely. The footage cuts out with the family frantically reversing away from whatever was standing there blocking them on that October night. Now, stepping back and looking at this rationally, could it all have been an elaborate prank pulled on the family? Sure, it's possible. Could the father himself have staged the whole thing to frighten his own kids? That's worth entertaining, though the raw panic in everyone's voices makes it a hard sell. What does give pause is the combination of the bloodied shirt, the deliberately arranged candles, and the figure showing up more than once in completely different spots. That level of coordination feels intentional, and honestly more than a little unsettling. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Brendan is a UK-based content creator who documents his cross-country van life adventures on his channel Brendan Explores. Back in March 2024, he linked up with his friend Steve for a stealth camping excursion in the Peak District. The two, eager to get out into the wild, set off at first light with plans to hike through the rugged terrain before returning to the comfort of their van. What was supposed to be a straightforward outdoor getaway, however, took a much darker turn once darkness settled in.
Oh my goodness, we're going to be sliding down the hill. What's that smoking away in the distance, mate?
That's the cement factory.
Ah, okay. I saw that on the drone and I thought, I wonder what that is.
Oh my God.
What an incredible view, eh? Absolutely.
The next morning threw a few curveballs at them. A brief moment of panic over distant smoke turned out to be nothing more than a nearby cement factory, and they returned to find their van glazed over with ice. Rather than calling it quits, they pressed on uphill.
Here's a turn up for the books, bit of an update for you. Oh, me and Steve have had to part ways. I've had second thoughts on this, the reason being, we've been on this trail, we've had some pretty treacherous pieces of path, especially over that little hump there. I've completely soaked my feet are sodden wet. That one's okay. And we spoke to a couple of chaps that are on a 15-mile walk around here, rather them than me. And we asked them how far this crash site is away. Now we've been walking now, probably for about 2 or 3 miles already. Steve initially thought that the crash site was on the top of that ridge line there. But apparently there's 2 crash sites, but the one that we're looking for, with the American flag, we asked the chaps, because they've been across it today, and they said once you get to that ridge line.
When Brendan began struggling with some health problems, the two decided to go their separate ways for a while. Brendan made his way to the village of Well, while Steve carried on with the hike. In Bowell,
we're gonna have a little walk around Bakewell. Got to try and get a Bakewell tart as well, or a Bakewell pudding. I don't want to make that mistake. A few independent little businesses. I'll go for 3 of your cherry Bakewells on there, please. Thank you. That's great.
Brendan tried the area's well-known local pudding and wandered through the picturesque countryside. When the two eventually caught up again, Steve had swapped his outfit after taking a tumble in the mud. They then made their way together to Lovelock Bridge, a spot famous for the roughly 10,000 padlocks couples have attached there to mark meaningful moments in their relationships.
The center of the bridge is made up of padlocks.
As the sun began to dip, Brendan and Steve drove out to Weaver Hills in Ashburn, a place celebrated for its sweeping views and tranquil atmosphere, to settle in for the night. What they anticipated would be a relaxed evening under the stars, though, started going sideways fast.
Tonight, and my goodness, have we got a treat in store for us tonight. Oh yes, we're going to a place, or near to a place called Ashbourne, and we're staying in a place called the Weaver Hills. This particular park up is right on top of a hillside with some absolutely amazing views. So we're going to hit the road, head down to near Ashbourne, and go and have a quick look into the Weaver Hills.
Gear change is very distinct.
My God, it's a beast. It's a logger.
Oh yes, look at that. They'll be running all night.
Bloody hope not. You reckon?
I don't know. I come up that track and I was thinking to myself, bloody hell, this don't look like a tractor anywhere except to a farm.
Yeah. We've had a couple of tractors go by, and judging by a couple of reviews of this place, most of which are positive, may I add, apparently some of the locals aren't too happy about people parking here. For whatever reason, I don't know. But I can guarantee you it's probably something to do with rubbish, and that rubbish most probably has nothing to do with van lifers, but
Brendan was aware that locals weren't exactly welcoming toward campers in the area, but he figured the van would fly under the radar. That assumption would quickly prove to be a mistake. The spot they'd chosen, which looked perfectly calm on the surface, had something else going on beneath it. After a solid dinner, capped off with a slice of Bakewell tart, Steve said his goodnights and retreated to his own van. They were parked alongside a paved road with the occasional car drifting past. Nothing out of the ordinary, or so it seemed.
someone was just outside. Yeah, like whether it's a vehicle or not. Well, it's definitely a vehicle because I heard it.
Yeah, I heard it. It was a little like Ford Connect van.
Well, why is he just stood there or sat there like stalking?
If you look here, if you stand here, right, you can just see one line.
But then a question started gnawing at them. Were they being watched? It felt far-fetched, yet things were undeniably starting to feel off. Steve, who banged his head on the van's roof in his hurry to get outside, spotted a vehicle sitting nearby. They couldn't make out anyone inside, but a car lingering out there at that hour was enough to put them both on edge.
That Land Rover.
Yeah. Right.
They're playing music as well.
Okay, they saw me. I saw them. See you now. What I will say is we're here, right?
Yeah.
Look at the distance between the farm, right? That's a fair old way, that is.
Yeah.
And it's round a bend as well, so we're looking at it from here. The light's gone off. Right.
So what would that light have been then?
That would have been a vehicle, mate. I've got to be honest, like, because that farm's quite a way away. Now, we've had another vehicle. Look, mate, look at the time, what time it is, right? You're not going to just get anybody coming down here, are you? And there's only another option of doing this, Brendan. Is the drone.
Apologies if you guys can't really see much because of how dark it is, but there's definitely something or someone at the brow of that hill. Look with your naked eye at the top of that hill.
Yeah. See, it's picking up something.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, mate, it's a fire. Look at the heat off. Look at the glow off it.
What the hell are they doing setting fires at this time of night?
It's quite a big fire, that was, because it showed up, didn't it?
Car's gone past twice.
Yeah. So we have two vehicles.
Yeah.
Past, but
what did you say? One was a van?
One was a van, definitely a little van.
Yeah.
And the other was
Land Rover.
Yeah.
They kept their eyes trained on it, and then the car, or possibly a different one, suddenly tore off into the night as though the driver had clocked that Brendan and Steve had noticed them. The mysterious vehicle disappeared into the darkness, leaving the two friends unsettled by the whole encounter. Sure, it could have been someone just passing through, but Steve couldn't shake a nagging sense that something more sinister was at play. What reason would anyone have to be driving through such an isolated spot at that time of night?
We're going to carry on staying here. We're going to kind of disregard that a little bit. At least we know what the initial sound was that sounded well, quite honestly, horrific in the middle of the night. But as Steve said, it would have been a lot better if whoever that was, whether it be farmer or friend or foe, whatever it was, at least if they'd have stopped and just said something, because we were outside the vehicles. It might have just given us a bit more of an inkling of what their intention was, but try and settle in again for the second time tonight. Alright, mate. Just give me a shout if you need me.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, if there's anything going on, just hit the horn, alright?
Yeah, alright, mate.
That's the best way of dealing with that.
Alright, I'll see you in the morning.
In spite of the unease, Brendan and Steve refused to let the incident derail their trip. They headed back to their vans and made a point of getting some rest. Whatever had unfolded out there, they weren't going to let it steal the experience from them. The remainder of the night went without incident, and Brendan continued sharing the journey online, uploading more footage that confirmed they came through the whole strange ordeal just fine. The two held their ground and saw the camping trip through to the end. But given that there were two of them out there together, you can't help but wonder what the outcome might have looked like for a woman camping alone in that same situation. Kicking things off tonight is a clip from Shane and A&E Adventures, an Irish van life channel that follows real journeys across Europe, covering everything from everyday travel to moments that catch them completely off guard. It's April 2026, just outside Seville, Spain. After a rough time trying to get into the city, they give up on finding a spot closer in and pull over for the night on the outskirts. They shift from a busier stretch of road to a quieter, more secluded car park next to an abandoned football pitch, mainly just to get a decent signal. It's a practical call, but one that comes at the cost of visibility and safety. Once they're settled, the area is completely dead. No other vehicles, no lighting, no signs of life anywhere nearby.
Nada. So we are here. This park up is literally in the middle of nowhere. There was a motorbike down here at the very front, started flashing the lights at us. Thought it was like a dogger or something. I don't know what he was doing. And then he pulled up beside us and he was like, "Darien."
No, but I thought he was saying "damn it," which means give me.
Yeah, I know.
And I was like, he wants money.
No, because he had his phone and he was like Uber Eats or something. And he was like,
well, you should have said yes.
Oh, well, this is what he saved us cooking. He was like, Darien. And then I was like, no.
Maybe he's going to the French van.
Yeah, I think.
Then somewhere around 1:30 in the morning, they start hearing footsteps just outside. The sound is deliberate and close, like someone circling the van rather than just walking past. In a spot with zero activity around them, that kind of presence is difficult to rationalize. With no real way to see out, all they have to go on is what they can hear.
Was walking around the van, walking up and down.
I didn't hear that much.
I did.
Because I just sleep anywhere. But now it's in my head.
Let's go.
So let's go. This is like one of the first times we...
No, it is the first time.
Is it the first time? Yeah. Yeah, it is the first time that we have to move.
People say, like, when you have a gut feeling, just get up and leave because...
Turn right onto Calle Virgin de los Dolores.
There's no need for him to walk up and down the van and around the van, so I don't know what was going on. We're out in the middle of nowhere and there's nobody about, so I don't think he should be about at 1:30 in the morning.
Meters, turn right toward Calle.
They don't wait around to figure it out. Still in their pajamas, they fire up the engine and head straight for somewhere with more people around. The call is made fast, well before anything escalates or becomes any clearer, putting control ahead of answers.
The park up outside Seville. After last night, that fella walking around a van, I don't know what he was doing, but at 1:30, nobody should be walking up and down and around your van, so we decided to move over here. We had a beautiful, quiet night's sleep. It kind of messed us up because we are so tired. It took us a while to get back to sleep, but it's time to get up, get an Uber, get into the city and see what Seville has to offer. So right behind me is where we were parked up last night. We had to move back here this morning just to do a little bit of work because this is the only spot in this little town that has Wi-Fi. But last night about 1:30 we could hear somebody walking around here. Because this is like a gravel road, you could hear the footsteps.
Come morning, they sit with what happened the night before. They never work out who was out there or what they were doing. They do swing back briefly for the signal, but that car park is immediately crossed off as anywhere they'd sleep again. What makes this one stick isn't a dramatic ending. There's no confrontation, no explanation, just a string of events that never quite add up. The real takeaway is the choice to drive away before knowing anything for certain. And in places this remote, where no one can see you and no one is coming to help, that gut reaction might be the most important thing you've got. Rick Talker, out by the fire cooking chili rice, while something inside his house keeps setting itself off.
but this time I'm going back to the world's most haunted farm that you all absolutely love. Tonight is a lot different from the previous times that you have seen me camp out because I am actually prepared for once in my life with adequate equipment to keep me warm, to keep me my belly full and all that good stuff. It is Christmas Day, or night technically. So I came home, I was a little like, I don't know what to do, and then I got thinking, I'm like, all of my camping supplies just came in the mail. I'm good, I'm going camping tonight. So, you know, short of me having a heart attack and dying right there on the property,
He's standing outside tending to dinner when a massive crash erupts from somewhere inside. There's no obvious source, no logical reason for the noise. He goes completely rigid and fixes his gaze on the door.
Whatever. The f was that? What the hell?
Mid-cook over the open flame, another heavy crashing sound tears through from inside the house. He freezes on the spot. He mutters something along the lines of, "What on earth was that?" then heads in to investigate, only to find absolutely nothing.
What the f? Ow! Ah! Damn it! What the f was that? Hello? Shit. What the f is going on with this place? I can already tell you all, this is
Back inside with the Annabelle doll nearby, an odd sound drifts in from the kitchen direction. The spirit box then produces the words mental, then tapping, and then, unmistakably, what sounds like the piano in the next room being slammed. He goes stiff. He is completely alone in that house, and not a single person is anywhere close to that piano.
All right, Annabelle. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna fire up Spirit Talker here. You're gonna get the uncomfortable chair. All right, we're gonna talk here for a second. What or who has taken offense to Annabelle, this doll that's literally, you could buy online. There's nothing special to her. Who, what, or why are you attaching yourself to this doll? It sounds crazy for everybody watching back at home. Trust me. You know how many times I watch back some of these videos of me talking to this doll and being like, what the fuck? Yeah, a lot. I've questioned myself. I'm like, do I need to go to the, you know, like the Looney Tune house or something for like a couple of weeks? But like, you can only correlate everything that's been happening here as soon as I took that doll out of that package. It's the only thing. No fucking way. Mental. It just said mental. Oh, you're mocking me now. Do you think I need to go? Ah! It's just a tapping. What the f was that? It's a fucking piano, I'm pretty sure. Sorry for cussing. What is your issue? What the hell is your issue? And what do you want from me? Holy shit, it almost sounded like the damn piano, like...
Trying to get some sleep in the van, he notices a flashlight flickering past the window. Then the entire van shifts. The whole vehicle rocks by itself. He scans the darkness around him, motionless.
Oh shit, the window only goes down halfway. What the fuck is that? The fuck's the flashlight? Alright, I'm tripping out or the fucking van just moved.
The GoPro topples over on its own. He watches it go down in real time, and nothing made contact with it. Sitting upright in the dark on a haunted farm on Christmas night, he says aloud,
Like you're trying to decipher between, like...
What the fuck? Oh my god! The f***ing GoPro just fell. The f***ing GoPro just fell. Yo, what the actual going on right now?
Alright, so I'm losing it. I'm at this is gonna drive me insane. Like, this is legitimately like, this is fucking creepy. I don't care what you say. I don't care how big of a macho man you are. Nah. Like,
the van lurches again. One by one, he goes through and locks every door, then crawls into his sleeping bag and pulls it up over his head. Sealed inside his own vehicle, on his own land, too scared to even glance out the window.
it's really cold out. And it's only getting colder. So I don't know. Oh man. I don't know if I need to start a fire.
Ah! The fucking van was just moving.
Locked. I'm done. I'm literally gonna get in the sleeping bag right here. I'm gonna pull it over my head, and I'm absolutely going to bed. I'm done with this shit.
In April 2020, a young man named Noah decided to take his truck out for a solo camping trip in the forests of Sun River, Oregon. While driving along, he spotted what looked like a decent location and pushed deep into the woods. On his very first night out there, he was jolted awake by noises coming from just outside the vehicle. As he lay there listening carefully, he realized the sounds were footsteps, and based on the rhythm of them, he figured it had to be a person walking around. He reached for his GoPro and hit record.
I'm currently sleeping in the back of my truck right now. I don't even know what time it is, and there's someone walking around my truck. what to do. I'm a little freaked out right now, and it's like pitch black outside, and like this doesn't make any sense because I parked somewhere where you couldn't see. No one was on that road. Wait, he's touching my truck. How am I supposed to get him away? He's literally knocking. He's literally knocking on my truck. The canopy, the back door's locked right there. I'm scared forever. I don't think he knows that there's anyone in here. I'm so scared right now.
Whoever was lurking out there began knocking on the back of the truck and pulling at the door handles, while Noah sat completely still inside, powerless to do anything but listen. Thankfully, he'd kept everything locked, so nobody was able to get in. After several long minutes, the footsteps finally trailed off into the darkness. Once daylight came, Noah wasted no time getting back to the main road and heading straight home. That morning, he discovered handprints smeared across the exterior of his truck, concentrated on the rear window where someone had been trying to peer inside, and heavily covering the door handles where someone had repeatedly tried to gain entry.
Handprints there, a lot of scratches, stuff like that. Dragging his finger on my side of my truck. Well, looks like to be trying to get inside my truck. That's really all I could tell from when he was walking around. More handprints trying to get in my truck. At least the back canopy was locked, but
the fact that anyone was wandering around out there at that hour is deeply unsettling on its own, and it clearly wasn't law enforcement since nobody announced themselves. Whoever it was carried no flashlight, moving through a completely lightless forest in the dead of night. Noah never posted any follow-up about the incident, which strongly implies he never did figure out who was circling his truck that evening. Content creator headed out in August 2024 for what appeared to be a perfectly ordinary camping excursion. Once darkness settled in, unsettling sounds began reverberating through the trees. He scrambled back to his tent, hoping to find some sense of security, but the disturbances only intensified. At a certain point, it genuinely seemed as though something outside was attempting to force its way in. He was frozen with terror, holding his breath in the darkness. Gradually, the sounds died down, and he was finally able to get some sleep. The moment dawn broke, he threw his gear together and got out of there as fast as he could. Electrician Kelly, a TikTok creator, was out on a van camping trip with a group of friends when somebody noticed an enormous spider perched right on the van door and grabbed their phone to start recording on the spot.
Bro, what is that?
If you found yourself in that situation, a spider that size just hanging out on your only way inside, would you do something about it, or would you just sit tight and hope it moves on its own? Following chilling clip comes from Jamie Does Wild Bikepacking, a UK-based outdoor channel dedicated to solo bikepacking adventures, wild camping, and overnight excursions. It's March 11th, 2026, somewhere in Norfolk, England. Jamie is driving through the rural countryside in search of a quiet legal spot to bed down for the night. His original plan, a scenic viewpoint nearby, falls through when overnight parking turns out to be off limits. With no other option, he adapts on the fly and makes his way toward a more secluded location near Pettersway, deep in the surrounding woodland.
I can hear all sorts of weird singing going on in those woods.
Then, while standing outside his van, something cuts through the silence in a way that stops him cold. Drifting out from the trees comes what sounds like faint singing or possibly chanting. Jamie's initial reaction is fairly relaxed, but there's no denying how out of place that sound feels in the middle of nowhere. For a moment, curiosity gets the better of him. Jamie thinks about pushing into the woods to track down whatever is making that noise, but something holds him back. He's not sure it's a good idea. He moves to get a better look, but the moment he steps away from the van, the atmosphere shifts around him almost immediately. The isolation hits differently, and he thinks better of it, retreating back to his vehicle.
Have a piss. What the f*** is that? There's a light in the bloody woods now. I'll tell you what.
What started as a perfectly ordinary solo camping trip slowly takes on a more unsettling edge. Strange sounds and an unexplained light in the distance introduce a creeping uncertainty that transforms the whole mood from calm to tense. Nothing ever gets fully explained, but between what he hears and what he sees, the situation feels anything but predictable. Ultimately, Jamie opts for caution and stays put inside the van rather than pushing his luck any further. The night ends with no real answers, but with one very strong feeling: those woods were far from empty.